One of the Guitar Brothers. And Mark, I would say Mark.
Mark, yeah, I'm the bass player.
His DJ puts in his press kit that it was Mark just for the fact that you had an British accent. Yeah. And how did you find your way over from Europe to Huntington Beach, California?
I just came here looking for a band.
Really?
And I met Jared one night, and he was so drunk, leaning against this bar in some club somewhere in Orange County, and we started talking. He was looking for a bass player, and he was a singer, and we hooked up the next day, and that was like 9 years ago.
And you guys have done great music since then, man. It seems to have clicked right away from the first album. I mean, the first album was a little raw compared to this one, Broke, which you got to check out. And you can throw it in your CD-ROM, and it's got some pretty cool behind-the-scenes shit going on as well. But you definitely want to check this one out. It's the new one. And if you haven't got the old one, that's another good one to check out. But you guys brought Machine into the studio as a producer on this. Now, how did you pick up on him? I mean, he's done some, like, Shooty's Groove and stuff, and he's a very refined, trained ear, and it seems that his work is really amalgamated with your music nicely.
He did a remix of us a couple years ago, a song called Darky. He did a crazy industrial techno dance remix of this song. Freaked us out. And then last summer we did a song for the Black Sabbath tribute album, a song called Sabracadabra, and we hooked up with Machine. We did the whole thing in a weekend.
What album was that on, Sabracadabra?
It was on Nativity in Black, too. It came out like 2 months.
But I'm thinking, what was that? Was that on Masters of Reality? Sabracadabra?
No, I think it was
your old record collection and find that one out.
Yeah.
I was trying to look smart, but it ain't working. You know, it's potheads.
Try to look smart on TV. It never works.
No, it doesn't.
He's got to look like a big...
Look at Letterman. He makes a fool out of himself every night, you know.
We've learned that the dorkier you are, actually, the cooler you are. So
I am a dork on
we're
camera.
not afraid to be as dorky as we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you recorded most of this album on the back of the bus. I don't mean to, you know, I know you've been asked this question before, but I'm trying to let our Pittsburgher fans know and future potential fans of Head PE that, you know, the first one was more of a studio works, and this one was like the foundation was written on the back of the bus for the Ozfest? No? Am I wrong?
Sort of.
Spank me.
Well, what happened was the writing process for this album was done on tour. On our first album, we never went on tour, you know, before you make your first record. So, you know, we recorded a lot of our stuff on the bus and wrote it, you know, so it was more of like a pre-production thing. We didn't really, like, record any of the album while we were traveling, you know. We just,
you didn't tour Ozfest in an RV, like, in the earlier...
No, we had our own adventures on the Ozfest. We had a bus for a little while, a really nice bus, and then we had a little disagreement with the driver, and he left us on the sidewalk in Wisconsin. So we hitchhiked.
Wisconsin death trip.
It almost was.
Really?
It was a Wisconsin suck trip, and it just went on. I didn't see Chad or any of the guys for days. We'd all hitchhike on different people's buses, and a couple of us drove a Ryder truck with all the equipment in.
I just want to say that all the stories that you hear about us, they're all true. It's not like we're making up these cool stories that happened to us, like, oh, poor us. Like, we went through all
this. It
this.
sort of happens around you, it seems like. You know, you're like this...
A lot better right now, you know.
Wrapped by a mystery of
People would look at us right now and think that everything's so great, but it hasn't always been this way.
Yeah.
You know, we came up from traveling 14 months with 11 guys in a RV. I don't know that many bands that have done that, you know.
No. And that's a tight squeeze.
Yeah, and survived. We almost self-destructed, dude. To tell you the truth, yeah.
Months of therapy for the band after that, or what?
You know.
What's therapeutic for a band like Head P when you're in a situation like that?
Everybody has their own answer to that. We all go home, do our own different thing. I like to disappear in the mountains myself. Chad has his thing. You know, we all go our different ways. But you got to do something to keep sane. You know?
Yeah, something that keeps you in touch and keeps your feet on the ground so you can come back to it and start afresh and anew and make a great product like this, man. Now, you guys seem to have, I don't know, I was reading reviews, and a lot of the critics, which I have a problem with, they were comparing you to Korn and Limp Bizkit, and I'm like, I just don't hear that, man. I hear Head PE, and I hear a singer that's got much more of a greater vocal range than Fred Durst, who we've had on this show, and Jonathan Davis. They kind of like two-range singers with Jared, or MCUD, man. He's just a diversified talent, man. It must be great to be able to work with that. And is that kind of what keeps you going, even though you haven't hit like payday yet, or you know?
Well, we didn't start this band to, like, you know, make $1 million and be famous. So the reasons are the same that we make music.
A lot of bands do that.
Well, sure, but you know, if that was the case, we would have given up a long time ago, because we've been around, you know, longer than, you know, some of the bands you mentioned, or as long as at least, you know. What keeps us interested in it is the growth that we all go through as people and musically. You know, we think that we have something to offer special, no matter what any journalist wants to, you know, compare us to. It's like, to us, we will only take it as flattering remarks. We don't care. You know?
It's nice to get mentioned these days because it keeps your name out.
If someone goes, oh, this band Head PE, first they're talking about us, which we like, and if they say, oh, you might, if you never heard of them, you might think Rage Against the Machine. Well, you might think that would make us mad, but not really. They're one of our favorite bands ever, you know.
So you take it as a homage or, you know, an accolade of a type, you know, which is cool.
Yeah, we definitely won't get hung up on, you know, being bummed out about people.
Nah, to us, it's just like we're in.
To me, actually, I was a critic once, and just to flat out compare a band to another band, to me, that's a shortcut to thinking.
Journalistic laziness.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it is. And I want to ask you about this thing you have with West Style about Guitar Brothers, where if one of you don't want to do something, you have to look at each other and say Guitar Brothers, or is that a distorted story that I read?
No, that was a very true story, but in this day, and it had a lot to do with drinking Jack Daniels, and since I've kind of cut my Jack Daniels consumption pretty much completely out of the picture, that kind of thing died out.
It can lead to be
We used to, like, yeah, you know, if Wes on any given night was drinking a lot of Jack Daniels, and I wasn't, and if he wanted me to, all he had to do was say, Guitar Brothers, and then it would kind of force me into it. So then we'd pay each other back, you know, like if he was trying to chill or whatever, I'd go try to rush him and bum him out on something in the name of Guitar Brothers. So.
In the name of the Guitar Gods.
It's funny that you'd even hear about that, 'cause it's kind of an inside thing.
I try reading about the bands. I mean, like I said, I've dug you guys since you came out with the first CD, and being in the underground, I've cited a lot of musicians have come to me and asked, well, we're just going to wait for rock to return. And I'm like, it's returning. It's just not in the same format, the 80s hair band, which a lot of bands around here were into for quite some time. And you don't get signed like that. You got to be doing something very ingenuitive and prolific. And I cited your band way back in the day, like when the self-titled debut. Now, I didn't hear your alternative or your indie release, but I knew that this was on the state of cutting-edge material, and I cited it, man. I cited it, and I cited it hard. And it's just, you know, a lot of people tend to forget that the pioneers are sometimes the ones that get left behind, but you guys came back and proved that wrong, because you've upped the stake once again and came out with some great shit, man. And this is the producer on the cover, Machine. What you guys doing?
No, that's not Machine.
No, really? It said that in the press kit.
That's an actual homeless person.
Wait, it said that in what press kit?
It said that Machine was on the cover. I have it up in the front. I can show it to you.
That's a misprint.
Yeah.
Oh, well, see?
That's a large misprint right there.
That's cool, though. I like that kind of stuff.
Could you show me the riff for the Meadow real quick? There may be a couple of our players out there. Check it out.
Something like that.
Yeah, I can play. Yeah, cool. I got it on tape.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's a nice song, a nice arrangement. Now, I don't know if while you were on the road, if you saw a lot of I don't know, evil content in the world, because it seems like a lot of that reflects back through on this CD. A lot of it seems like you're frustrated with the way the world is and how people are. And even with the Jesus of Nazareth, where he's, you know, Jared's calling out to him.
Yeah, exactly what you just said. And Jared writes all the lyrics, you know. So, and a lot of that is his personal reflection and things he's had to, like, overcome. So, you know.
I mean, this definitely everything on that album relates to what we lived and how we've lived the last 2 years. Everything, because everything was written when we were on tour, and it reflects things that went on, particularly in Jared's life and maybe hours too. But it's not all applicable to all of us. Like, I don't feel like I'm waiting to die every day, you know?
Yeah.
I don't feel
I mean,
like
killing time, that's just like, phew, man, whoa, man. I'm like, Armageddon's coming, baby, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is Armageddon on CD. I mean, it really is. It's just a powerful attack, and you guys did a great job, and I'm wishing nothing the best for you this time around. Bartender's on the airwaves now. We've aired it on the show for at least, this will be the 6th week that we've run it, and it's nice to have you guys on to bring that in. And you working on another track now for a video, or?
Yeah.
we're probably
what's that gonna be?
Killing Time.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I love the opening riff of that, man. That's just like a Hulk motherfucker, you know what I mean?
It's not pop music.
No,
and it's not meant to be. And whatever. Yeah, but we're thinking about making a video for Killing Time.
Cool. And one more quick question: how do you hook up with a label that has NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and Britney Spears?
Very easily.
Okay.
We signed with Jive a number of years ago. Like you said, we've been around for a long time. Yeah. And at that time, the only artists that we knew they had was more of a hip-hop roster with like KRS-One, and they were famous for Too Short and Tribe Called Quest, and on and on. And then we put our record out, and then like a year later, they started putting out, you know, these pop acts, and we were like, "What, isn't that our label?" But the good thing about that was that they made a lot of money, and hopefully, you know, they'll, you know, throw a little bit that, you know, our way. Yeah. You know, because
it seemed like a label that takes care of their artists and, you know, spread the love.
We're not exactly selling out arenas, but we're riding in a
nice
bus
we have
right now. Life's pretty good.
Thank Britney Spears, and NSYNC just came onto the roster last year, so they can't.
Yeah,
they can't.
We gotta jump them in. So
bring some of their women your way or something. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate your time. Right now we're rolling Bartender on Rock Circus. Guys from Head PE, thank you. Kick it one time!
What's the show again? You watching
Rock Circus?
Watching Rock Circus?
Yeah, if you forget it, it's right on the side of the mic there.
It's like an internet show or a cable show? Or what?
It's a cable access show. It's right directly on in the city of Pittsburgh. So I influence a lot of the kids, and they turn on a lot of the kids in the suburbs, you know. And a lot of times the labels don't look at that as a great source of getting the word out, like once you get airplay. But a lot of times kids on the radio, they get sick of what the radio's doing because they beat a song, and then as soon as they think that they're expending it, they drop it. You know what I mean? They're moving on to the next thing. They kind of pimp the bands instead of help them. You know what I mean?
Oh, we know that. Yeah. We've seen the industry from our unique perspective too the last years.
It sounds like you have.
That's an interesting industry, you know?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's interesting, though. You know what I mean? It's fascinating, and it pisses you off a lot sometimes, but you kind of just got to swallow it and fucking grin and bear it, you know? Grin and bear it. Totally. All right, yeah, just have Mark from Head PE.
Hey, what's up? This is Mark from Head PE.
And this is Chad from Head PE.
And you're watching Rock Circus. We should probably do that again, huh?
Yeah, you can.
Should I just,
you do the whole thing.
Let
me say your name.
Yeah.
Play something
and
in
then
the
I'll try. Okay.
Play a little something in the back.
What kind of music you guys want to hear?
I play something a little aggressive, man.
Hey, what's up? This is Mark and Shazad from Head PE, and you're watching Rock Circus.
Yeah, sure, man. I'm sorry, my bust.
That came out yesterday?
I don't think it came. Did it come out? I've had it for about 3 weeks now. I get an advance on it from Virgin, so it's because it's Immortal Virgin. We'll run this on the following show, you know. I just got the video. Did you see the video with Lejean from?
No,
fucking,
I haven't.
That's kind of why I wrapped it up. You know, you're like. Yeah, Cottonmouth. I was smoking all day. Sorry.
Awesome.
I got 4 kids to deal with.
I was smoking too. I was walking in the city and just got fully lost.
Yeah.
It took like 2 hours. Eventually, I found the Steelers Stadium, Three Rivers.
Yeah, the new ones. Yeah.
Now I recognize somewhere.
Yeah.
Got back here like 5:30.
They're supposed to implode the old stadium, but now they're talking about changing it. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hanging with the members of Head PE, kind of wanted to touch on the fact of this lead. Fuck that up too. My dry mouth, doesn't he? 5, 4, 3, 2. We're hanging with Shazad and Mark from Head PE, and we wanted to talk about their good friend that has passed in this release that the remaining members of Snot and the friends that they had which were quite many, as you can see on this release. Jonathan Davis of Korn, Brandon from Incubus, Serge from Sisters of a Down, who was also on your CD as well, the Broke CD, Fred Durst, Max, Lejean, Corey, and of course, MCUD, he's on there. Now, this is a great tribute to a guy that had a very impassioned way of living, from what I could understand. I was telling you guys a little bit about the interview, or the video, not the interview, the video that they had where they had the ghost of Lynn, frolicking around with this big beach crowd. And they've just doing the acoustic number on here, Lejean, and the rest of Morgan and Clint from Seven Dust and Snot. But you guys are a big part of this, or you wanted to, how did you want to talk about this? MCUD was on it. Now, do you have personal experiences with Lynn, or?
Oh, too many to mention.
Oh, really?
I think we've toured to this day more shows with Snot than any band.
Yeah, the tours that first put us on the map was with Snot, and it's just an honor for us to have known the guy personally. Mm-hmm. There was no one like Lynn, and obviously he passed way too soon. Yeah. I heard the album over the summer. Tuma played it for me when we were out on Tattoo, and it's incredible. It's a worthy tribute to Lynn. Yeah.
They pumped this up on the Tattoo the Earth tour?
Well, they did some advanced
stuff, promote it, though. You know what I mean?
There's advanced tapes and stuff going around, but I think that thing's going to sell anyway. Everybody who knows the music industry knows Lynn. Everybody loves Snot, Yeah.
I love this. We played their videos on the show way back when. They haven't released nothing obviously in a little while. Sorry, Lynn. Don't mean no disrespect, but it's a great works to attribute the man's works in his life, and there's even a little segment that Ozzy says how he misses Lynn and whatnot. I guess he made an impact on him when he was on the Ozfest.
I'll say one other thing is a tribute to Lynn. It's like every artist on that album, every singer brought out a little bit of the Lynn in them. You can hear it. Everybody knew Lynn personally, and it's just an awesome tribute.
He seems to be quite a charismatic character. I never got to interview him, but I surely regret that I haven't. But so you guys, did you go in for any of the production work on it?
No, we just wanted to let everybody know that Snot was a great band, and Lynn was one of the greatest singers ever, and you should all go get this record right here.
At least check it out.
No, you should just go get it anyway, just to have it.
Okay. It's a great album, too. It can't be faded.
Yeah, I'm not trying to steer him wrong.
That pretty much wraps it up right there.
All right, well, we'll roll that video from that CD with Lejean, Clint, and Morgan from Seven Dust, jamming with Snot, just jamming on a beach in memory of Lynn. Yeah, just kicking it right here on the Rock Circus.